Hello, Cola Nation. Today, I'm going to be showing you how to use the custom remix editor for Rhythm Heaven. So, first and foremost, before you even start working with this, what you need to do is download the program. I'll leave a link to that in the description. But you also need to download Java, which I'll also leave in the description. You just follow the instructions on their website. So, when you first boot up the program, this is what it's going to look like. Nothing there with your music start flag and your playback start flag. The playback start is where you're gonna start, where the music's gonna start, where the playback's gonna start playing, obviously. Where if you like, well, I'll get to that in a second. So, anyway, so what you want to do first of all is you want to find a song. I already found a song. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to this button right here that says Music Select. Now, the program has opened up a window for me to choose what music I want. So I already have a song I'm going to use, and it's this one, the overworld theme from New Super Mario Bros. DS. Just double click, and now it says the estimated start time of the music is 0.5 milliseconds. It's recommended that you move the music start to the estimated time so you get immediate results. Now once you have that, you press this button right here. Now you see how the music starts move right here? That's what we want. Now, you want to use the tempo change tool, which is 3 on the keyboard for a keybind. Click it. Go to about where your music start is and click. Now you see you have a tempo. But what you want to do is have a tempo. You want to find the tempo of the song you're using. So I recommend just going online and finding a tempo finder, an online one, or which is what I do. I go online to find a tempo finder because my sense of rhythm sucks. Well, not really bad, but you know. Or you can do what commonly do is go use the tap along feature, which helps you find the tempo on your own. So let's get rid of this by right clicking and use the tap along feature. Now you want to press space to start the music. Well, you also want to move your playback start about right where the music start is. Now, if you press space, the song should play. And you want to press T with the music so you can get a tempo. Okay, never mind. I guess I have to put a tempo first, and then I can use the tap along. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Okay, as you can see, my tempo was around 100. Now you might always want to double check what your tempo is with the online tempo finders, but usually your own sense of rhythm should be able to guide you. So you want to go back to the tempo change tool, which is 3 on the keyboard. Put your mouse over the little arrow down here and just scroll with the wheel until you get the tempo that told you to do. Now, if we click this option up here, the metronome, we can see if it's with the beat of the music. Let's have a listen. As you can tell, it was around the start of the song. Now, it could maybe use a fine tuning. Let's try 99 to see if that better fits. As you can tell, it was a little off, so maybe let's try 101 and see if that's any better. 3, 2, 1. Now, as you can tell, it started to drift off from the beat a bit. So yes, 100 would be a good tempo. Now, let's get into the type of games that there are in the Rhythm Heaven franchise. So there are multiple categories I put these games. So what you want to do is go back to your selection tool, and I'm just gonna go through the different games from Tengoku, DS, Fever, and then Megamix. So the first kind of game would be a keep the beat game. An example of this would be Nightwalk. So have a listen. Now what you can do with these keep the beat games most of the time is you can drag them, the edges of them, so you can make them longer or shorter. This prevents you from, having to place multiple of these at once. So and then if you want to change up the pattern, you can just scroll on the menu in the bottom right hand corner and just choose a different one. Have a listen. As you can tell, it stayed with the beat like a metronome, which is what those kinds of games are for. Now, another type of game is a timing game, and one of those I would consider to be a timing game is Power Calligraphy. Now, what you can do is you can hold right click to move this around, so it just plays wherever the thing is, whether it be in the middle of a song or not. So we can just move this over here, so we don't have to listen to the whole Nightwalk part again. Yeah. So now we have a timing game, which actually would be Sneaky Spirits. Would be a better choice because you have to either wait 7 or 8 beats until the ghost gets hit. So have a listen. Now, as you can tell, that was a little quiet. So this option up here allows you to change a game's pitch and volume. If you click on it, you can switch between fixing the volume or the pitch. Since this game doesn't have any pitch options, you click this and we can scroll to make it louder. Have a listen. As you can tell, it was a little louder. Now, Alright, moving on. Now we have the Copycat Games, which are games you copy the rhythm of something. Yeah, you just copy the rhythm of something. A good example of this would be rhythm tweezers. So now these options might look a little daunting at first. But all you have to do is make the appears happen first, and then have the plucks happen after in the same intervals. I'll show you an example. Let's do hair, hair, long hair, hair. Have a listen. Now that was a little fast. So what you want to do is just move around your pieces until you think they match with the rhythm. Like this. Now that wasn't very good either, so let's just keep moving them around and see if we can get something good. Alright. Now we'll do fine for right now. Now what you want to do is have your plucks, or whatever you're using as a copycat game, about a full beat, at least, maybe about a full beat from the original, or closer or farther depending on what you need. But you want to make sure they're the exact same length away from each other, or else it's going to be wrong. So what you want to do is pluck, pluck, long hair, pluck. And I think this will go right here. Yeah. Alright, have a listen. As you can tell, it matched the rhythm. Alright, moving on. Another type of game in this series of mini-games would be command games, where you have to wait for a command or cue to happen. A good example of a command or cue would be tap trial. Now these things might look a little daunting at first, but don't worry. Just have a listen. So let's do tap, tap, double tap. Let's have a listen. As you can tell, you put an input after a cue or command has been done. Let's have another listen. Alright, moving on. There's another type of game called a pattern game, which needs you to perform a specific pattern over and over again. Now, all of these games can fall into multiple categories, but it's just you can choose them based on what you need for a song. So if we go back over here and right click where the music start is, let's hear what our remix sounds like so far. Not bad, right? It's not the best thing in the world, but it works right now. Now, there's another concept you need to know about the tempo. It's called swing. Swing is when a combination of notes are played really fast. I don't know the full definition of swing. I do know is that it fluctuates the rhythm to sound differently. Now, to know whether your song has light swing, swing, or hard swing, you just have to test to see if it has any of those kinds of swings. So let's try light swing to see if it has any swing. Now, it sounds like the song has some swing due to the inputs actually being being to the song better. Let's try normal swing to see if it has a little more oomph to it. Alright, let's try hard swing now to see if it is a dramatic swing. Now, I think this song has normal swing. What you need to do is you might have to adjust your cues a little bit so they match with the music a little better. So go back to your selection tool and just pick some of the things that need to be fixed. Now, as you can tell, sometimes using cues kind of mess up what goes on over here. So what you need to do is just move. You just gotta readjust some things. All right, let's try that again. As you can tell, that wasn't too bad. Now, there's a specific game in this series that's called Karate Man. And I'm pretty sure y'all know, if you've played Rhythm Heaven, you know any of them, you'll know what Karate Man is. But what it is for people who don't play Rhythm Heaven, it's just a game where you punch stuff. That's it. But each game comes with its own version of it. And they each have different mechanics. So here, it's just punching stuff, like normal. So what you want to do is, since he hasn't punched anything yet, it would be a low flow hit. And once he punches 3 low flow things, you'll hear, if you scroll down, you'll hear a "oh yeah." So what you want to do is put that right about the end of a hit. And then once you get an "oh yeah," use a regular pine, like this. Let's have a listen and see what this sounds like. Remember to move your playback start over to where you want to hear. As you can tell, the sound effects are different. So what you need, but it's really quiet. So you want to fix the volume on these. So what you want to do, go to scroll mode, click on it. You can click and drag to select multiple things at once. Scroll to see if you've selected everything. Well, I didn't, so you just want to put the volume on these up real quick, and let's have another listen. Now, I think these last two could be a little closer together. it's okay if they overlap. These specific versions of Karate Man overlap because this is just a pot crashing. Let's have another listen. Now that sounded a little better. So let's scroll down on our thing down here and let's try a hit 3. So so let's put that right here, put the volume at 130, and let's have another listen. As you can tell, that was a hit 3 where he hits 3 objects, but I think it was a little off rhythm. So let's move it and have another listen. Now that didn't sound very good, so let's just put that back where it was. Alright. Moving on to the DS versions of the game. Let's give a Keep the Beat game a chance. So, the Keep the Beat game in this version of Rhythm Heaven is lockstep. But I'm gonna use Frog Hop because it's easier to understand. So, the basic, but since you're not coming from another Keep the Beat game, you want to have a count-in. So what you want to do is either you want a 2-beat count-in, which sounds like this if you give a listen. As you can tell, it's a little quiet, so let's amp the volume. You can hear it, right? If you don't, then let's try a 4-beat count-in, which might be a little louder, which, you know, covers 4 beats. Let's put the volume up, and let's have a listen. So what you want to do is after a 4-beat count-in, you immediately put a shake or a keep, whatever you're using, because most Keep the Beat games have a count-in like this. So let's have another listen. Nah, you heard it, right? Alright. It's adjusted to match the rhythm. So a yeah 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 is 3 repeated 3 inputs at once near the end, about right here. So let's increase the volume and have a listen. So things about patterns like this, they don't have a shake here, if I'm correct. Let's have another listen. They do not. So what you need to do is, you see these 3 parts right here? You see these 3 rectangles? You want to make sure they line up to where the end is right here. So then you can see the 3 ends right here. So let's have another listen. Now, I did not like the sound of that, so what we're going to do, put a shake up here, move that down here, and see what that sounds like. Now that sounded a little better. Now, when you, after a yeah yeah yeah, or yahoo, or specifically a yeah yeah yeah, you want at least a full beat of rest before you continue again. The reason is because you want to keep true to the games for it to not sound for it to not sound bad. So let's have another listen. Now, I think I might be wrong, so it just takes experimentation. So let's try it near right at the end of the yeah yeah yeahs. So with the yeah, let's just put it at the end. It's all experimentation. So after we have that, let's have a listen of what's next. Okay, so that's what we have next. So a timing game that we have on the DS is Philbots. I would consider Philbots a timing game. If I'm wrong, correct me in the comments below. But what happens in this is that, also, side note before I continue, the DS games, Fever games, and the 3DS games sometimes have different languages depending on what game they came from. Like Munchie Monk. Sorry, let's do a different example. Ooh, this is hard. The Dazzles on 3DS has a lot of different languages: Spanish, German, Japanese, Korean. On the DS, Philbots has a lot of different languages, but it really only affects when someone's speaking. So, for educational purposes, let's do Spanish Philbots and do a medium robot. Have a listen. Now I didn't like where that ended, so I'm going to move that up a bit. Have another listen. Move it again. Alright, move it back because I liked it better there. Now, the part that's Spanish about this is this. In English, this would say, fill her up. Have a listen.
Fill her up. Fill her up.
Now, I do not think that's where that goes, but have another listen. Let's move it right here.
Fill her up.
Now that sounds a little better. Now if we change it to Spanish and move it over here, have a listen. Okay, I do not think that's where that goes, so let's move that back here. Alright, that's good. Now, let's move on to a copycat game, which is, I believe, a good one here is Drummer Duel. Now, the red drummer always goes first. So what you want to do is do on beat, off beat, and just repeat the process for a rhythm you think sounds good. Have a listen. Alright, now after that, you want to use a turn pass so it turns over to the blue side. Have a listen. Now, copy what the red side did. Alright, next up, we need a command or a cue game. Am I right? Yes, alright. So, let's do fan club. You wait for a let's do first, just for variety in different languages, I'll do Japanese here. So, actually I'll do English first. So have a listen.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Now that was okay, I guess. So, let's move over and try, I suppose, with the landing. So you hear the monkeys land.
I suppose.
Now let's move that over a bit and see if that sounds better.
I suppose.
Alright. Let's try yeah, yeah, yeah.
I suppose. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Alright, I think we're good there. So let's do a Karate Man. This version of Karate Man has so many languages actually, now that I look at this. This version of Karate Man is different in the fact that it has different sound effects, different mechanics. So it has, instead of the flow, in like Tengoku, it just has normal pots. So let's just do this and have a listen. As you can tell, it's just normal pots, normal hits. Now let's try, this version has an offbeat pot, so what you want to do is place the offbeat pot right here on the offbeat. Listen. Did you hear that I was on the offbeat? Let's have another listen. Let's move this right here though. See how it's on beat? We want it off beat, so you might want to move it on top like this. Alright, now this version has a hit 3 too, but there's an actual cue for when you need to hit 3. Have a listen.
Hit 3.
Now I didn't like where that ended, so I'm going to move that right here and put a pot here, or an offbeat pot here, so it sounds a little better. Have a listen.
Hit 3.
Now what you want to do with hit 3s is, you see these two little squares right here? Move it to where it's about halfway with a regular pot. Have a listen.
Hit 3.
It just flows better with the game. Now, this version of Karate Man also has a kick mechanic, where a light bulb flies out, and then a barrel where you have to hold and flick in the DS version. Have a listen.
Hit 3. Punch kick.
Now, I didn't like where that ended, so I'm going to move that around to about right here. Have another listen.
Hit 3. Punch kick.
See where that ended? It sounded better. So, moving on to the next game. We have Rhythm Heaven Fever. So use this little mini map right here to scroll across your custom remix and see what you have. But I'm going to use it to scroll to the end here so I can get it to move on. So, keep a beat game on this one would be let's see, Flipper Flop. All right. Now this version of Accountant would be a Attention Company. So I want to move that about right here. Have a listen. Now that was a little quiet, so let's increase the volume. Now after that, you want to do the flipping. So we want to move that over here and just make it longer. Alright, have a listen. Okay, now let's move our thing over here. Now, let's do a triple, which is a cowbell. Have a listen. Now, let's move that back a bit with moving this in the process as well, increasing the volume. Alright, now you just keep on flipping until you can't do it no more. Now, let's do a flipper roll. So, the commander will say a certain amount of flipper rolls and you have to do them. So let's have a listen.
One flipper roll. One.
Now you want to make sure the flipping goes on so your flipper roll ends where you do a flipper roll where your flipping ends. So have another listen.
One flipper roll. One.
And then you want to switch to flipping on the back, which has a little different of a sound. Then do a triple on the back. Have a listen.
One flipper roll. One.
Now let's do 2 flipper rolls for flipping. Have a listen. Increase the volume so you can hear it.
One flipper roll. One. 2 flipper roll. One.
And now for a little flair, just say nice. Now, since we're gonna end the flipper flop section here, let's do a, where would it be? Just scroll until, yeah, say that. Now, what you want to scroll is just look for, now, yes, count, yeah, now look for that. And then put that volume up, put this volume up, and now you'll hear. Now this part should be done. Have a listen.
One flipper roll. One. 2 flipper roll. One. Now that's it.
Now, that's not what it's supposed to sound like. Now, what you want to do here is get this option, the multi-part splitter. Now, what you want to do now is get the multi-part splitter, which is 2 on the keyboard. Now, this allows you to split any part that has multiple parts, like the Keep the Beat games. If you click here now you can see it's split into 2 parts, flip and flip. But now you want to Control Z that, or because it messes up your volume. Now multi-part this. Now you can see that there's multiple parts to this. Multi-select this part. Let's raise the volume on all those. Move this right here. And move these out of the tracks to delete. Now, let's have a listen. Wait. Hold on. Now we have to look for a roll. There we go. Alright, let's have another listen.
One flipper roll. One. Two flipper roll. Now, that's it.
Alright. Now, let's go over here and continue on what we're doing. A command game or a cue game would be Figure Fighter, where you just have to punch a punching bag in time when the announcer says so. Have a listen.
Jab, jab, jab. Go, go, go!
As you can tell, he's very inciting. So let's move that back here and have another listen.
Jab, jab. Go, go, go!
Now that's not what I want either. So what you want to do is just fiddle around until you get what you want in terms of the rhythm.
Jab, jab, jab. Go, go, go!
Now that was an offbeat jab, and that's not natural. But this is just for educational purposes. So let's just keep going. Just experiment with what you need to do with the rhythm.
1, 2. Jab. One, two. Go, go, go!
Okay. Now, if I think, did we do a Copycat Game yet? No, we did not. So a Copycat Game in the Fever version of Rhythm Heaven would be Working Dough. Now, it's the same thing as the previous ones, just match the rhythm, match the spaces, and then just copy it. About, I think, a full beat. Or just move it around until you get what you need. It's all about experimentation. Just make sure to use the right side and not the left side. Let's have a listen. Let's move that over here a full section. Let's move that over here a full section. Now that doesn't sound very good, so what I'm going to do, move you right here, put you right there, move you to the right, and put you there. Let's have a listen. Now that's a little better. Okay, moving on. Now I think what's next, if we look back, is I think we did that timing. We need a timing game. So a good timing game here would be exhibition match, where you just count to 5 and wait for the baseball to happen. Have a listen. Now, I'm going to move that back so we can have a listen. So let's move back about right here and have a listen. Yeah, so let's count to 5 and see if it actually is 5 beats. 2, 3, 4, 5. That was 5 beats. Now, moving on to this game's version of Karate Man. Let's have a listen of just pots being hit when I put some down. High definition, huh? So, now, let's do a pot, hit 3 about right here, and see what that sounds like.
Hit 3.
Now I'm going to do the hit 3 a little earlier and put this right here. Let's see what that sounds like.
Hit 3.
Now that was good. So let's do this again. Is more pots. Let's do a combo, which is where he punches a lot of things at once. Have a listen.
Hit 3.
Now I didn't like how that sounds. Let's move that over here. Remove that. Let's do another hit 3 here and see what that sounds like.
Hit 3. Hit 3.
Now you want to move. Let's do a hit 3 about here and see what that sounds like.
Hit 3. Hit 3.
And let's put a soccer ball in there, why not? One last listen.
Hit 3. Hit 3.
Alright, now what I'm going to do is leave Rhythm Heaven Mega Mix to y'all, because it has another version of Karate Man, and not a bunch of its own games, just a bunch of remasters from the other games, which are higher quality and sound better. Now I'm going to speed ahead of this part, so I can give you what some of the Rhythm Heaven Mega Mix ones sound like, so give me a bit. Alright, now that I've finished placing all my things, let us go to this exclamation mark point here, and it automatically puts the end remix here. So you just want to place that where you want your remix to end. Have a listen. Yeah, it stops the program. So now, let's have a listen to our beautiful, beautiful project. Alright, ready? 3, 2, 1, go!
One flipper roll. 1. 2 flipper roll. Out. That's it.
Jab, jab, jab. Go, go, go! 1, 2. Go, go, go!
Alright, well that's the remix. That was the remix that we created together. Well, I created for you for educational purposes. So what you want to do now is go up here, save your remix, save it in a place you won't lose it. So I'm going to name this New Super Mario Bros. Overworld Theme version 1.0. The version number so I can figure out when was the last time I saved it. It helps me remember. So let's save. And it says it's been saved successfully. So now, let's go up here, export remix. Make sure it gets all the negative notes too, so you have your full song. Select a file to export to. I'm going to save it to the custom remix folder. I'm going to make it the same name that I did. Over SMB Overworld Theme. Remove this tag right here, because I don't need it because I'm exporting it. Save. It's going to render out the audio for us. I'm going to speed up the process. Alright, and it's exported successfully. Now, if I pull up if I go to the files here, now if I go to my custom remix folder, you can see that it's right here. Right here. If I click on it, you can see that the remix has been converted to audio. Now you can do whatever you want with the audio. You can add visuals to it and do whatever. I might do a part 2 where I get more advanced into like patterns and all that, and all the other features. But this was the basic stuff, and I hope you enjoyed. See ya, Coal Nation. Bye bye.